Welcome back to the Midday Lounge, Global RnB 96.3, the home of the BJ Murphy Morning Show. Make sure y'all check him out every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But you know what? Hey, I got the beautiful, delectable, oh so sexy, a lady named D in the building. Go ahead and talk to him, baby.
You're so kind. Well, hello, world.
I can only I call it how I need to call it. You know what I'm saying to you? I call it how I need to call it. Listen, so within the past week or two, I don't know when this. It would just say recently because I don't. It's come down that somebody, I guess she goes by. I guess she's a social influencer. Somebody named by Natalie Nunn. Natalie Nunn.
She's a she's a reality TV person.
Reality TV. Let's go with that. I'm going to act dumb on this because I don't know a whole lot about her. But so what has come down was circling around the internet is that she went to the internet. She wanted to vent about her being refused service at a restaurant in DC. So we're gonna talk about this racism or is what it could be. But y'all have your opinions. Hit the hotline 804-476-2306. Let's go ahead and get into this.
I had a table reserved, and when I walked up, they said, anyone that's affiliated with the Zeus network, we don't care. We don't like what you guys represent. We don't like your TV shows. I gave them my American Express card on file earlier to book a table. They said I could not come in because they don't like the black network that I work for. Who is the owner? Because he's not black, I promise.
All right. Hey, I don't know. I don't want to begin. Go ahead, because I'm out here. I sense foolishness amidst already. Let's go ahead.
All right. So, in your opinion, personally, because you brought this up, do you think that this is an example of racial discrimination, or do you think it has more to do with her public persona?
I think it has everything to do with her public persona. I don't think it has nothing to do with racism because I actually had to do my research on the park at 14 in DC, and it is an African American establishment. It is literally black owned. So I had to do my research because I wanted to make sure it's a black owned establishment in Washington D.C. Right. So I definitely believe you know what, even if I didn't think or I did not know that it was an African American establishment, I still would have thought it had everything to do with her public persona. I don't know too much about it. I did a little bit of research. I know we talked about the Bad Girls Club and all that other stuff. I don't know too much about it, but the stuff that I did find, it was, in my opinion, unbecoming of what a woman or a person in general is supposed to be acting like in public. And I believe that um, I believe the establishment just didn't want to be affiliated with what come from that particular network. I don't think it has anything to do with the network being black owned, just what the network portrays, and I don't think they wanted to be affiliated with it.
No, I definitely agree. I know a little bit more about her than you do,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm glad, like, even without knowing that little bit of information well, that's a really big piece of information that you just said, that it is a black establishment. Even without knowing, I do watch her show on Zeus,
Yeah.
and currently they're doing like an East Coast segment where her and her girls are touring along the East Coast. They were just in DC.
Okay.
And like the first episode, they were in like multiple restaurants where they got in a fight. So I absolutely believe that it has a lot to do with her public persona. You can't just be tearing up establishments.
Nah, not whatsoever. See, and I think that's all what it really comes down to, that they just didn't want to be affiliated with what was going on up in there. So let me ask this then. So could the restaurant have handled this situation differently in your opinion?
I believe they could have. As soon as her name dropped on that reservation, they should have immediately told her, we can't even reserve it. Because they knew her name not to let her into the establishment. So they knew her name when she set that reservation. I absolutely believe that they could have handled that differently from the beginning, before she got in her car and drove out there.
Okay.
If she truly had a reservation, they could have canceled it right then and there.
So I'm gonna throw out a couple scenarios because you know what, let's just say she had a reservation. You know what I'm saying? But in my mind, when people go to the internet and they do all this chasing, or they start doing all this, I ain't gonna say complaining. When they start dropping or venting, 9 times out of 10, I feel like most of the time it's probably a goddamn lie. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. I just believe
I agree.
to be a goddamn lie. I definitely think it's cap, but I was definitely gonna say how. Like, how could they have done it differently? Like, in my opinion, I was like, don't establishments have the right to refuse service, right? And then I was thinking, like, maybe she didn't put her name. Maybe it's maybe she had what's the word?
That is possible, her assistant or
Yeah,
somebody, because she's big enough to be EP of her TV show. So I'm pretty sure she has an assistant or something. So that could have happened too.
yeah, and
But
that's what I was thinking. But you know what? I'm pretty sure soon as they walked in, they was like, "Yeah, we don't want the." I'm gonna I'm gonna say it. I might get canceled, man. I might get canceled, but I'm gonna take the risk right now. When they walked up, I'm sure they was like, "Nah, we don't want these bitches up in here tonight." Not
and it, and to her point or whatever, she didn't just say it was her particularly. She said Zeus in general. They don't want nobody that has anything to do with Zeus up in their thing. But again, if you watch, you don't even have to watch the Zeus shows. You can go on TikTok,
mm,
like type in Zeus and just watch the content. And I
not,
understand.
I don't see nothing appealing when that came from that network. And I mean, I can see the appeal, but not on a positive stage. I see
The
it being
conversation could have been positive, but it just wasn't.
Mm. What is y'all opinion? Hit the hotline 804-476-2306. I definitely want to hear from the people when it comes to this one. Because right now I'm calling Cap, but I understand that this is much bigger than Natalie Nunn. This could be a situation, period, that goes forth as far as how the culture is perceived. Let's say like that. But keep in mind, this particular establishment was black owned, but every establishment is not black owned. So we definitely gotta spin the block on this one. Be back in a second. Global R&B 96.3. Let's go ahead and get back into this holiday soul music. Global R&B.
Hey, this is your girl Brittany calling out of Atlanta, and while I'm at work, I'll be rocking out with my boy, the midday lover, Jackie Trammell, right here with my number one source for R&B music, Global R&B.
Hey, Brittany, appreciate you keeping it locked with the baddest man on the planet on your radio. The midday lover is in full effect with my lovely co-host, lady named G. So before that break, we was talking about, you know what, we was talking about being forfeited services from certain individuals that represent a certain network. I don't know. Can we say the network? Do we already say the name? Because I don't
Yeah,
want
we
to get
already said
sued.
Zeus.
Yeah,
Like
the Zeus network. Say, hey,
Zeus ain't
I got no.
Zeus getting sued. They they ain't suing
Hey,
nobody.
hey, that's what I'm saying. So from the Zeus network, so we want to talk about representation as far as you going to these restaurants or we going to the restaurant and possibly being denied service because we represent a certain entity. All right. So let's go ahead and get back into it, D. Oh, yeah. So my bad. I'm taking my time, man, because I was sitting here thinking about this. But if y'all want to take these, y'all want to hit the hotline 804-476-2306. So when it comes to the establishment, should they have allowed her entry, especially with it being so much publicity that comes behind her? Do y'all think that? Do you think that she had a point? Do you think the restaurant missed the opportunity to capitalize?
um, yes and no. It probably might have been publicity in some aspect. However, what kind of publicity is it? Like from my understanding, that restaurant was like an upscale type of place. Like they don't
Yeah.
like you got to be dressed up to go there.
Yep.
So per her brand doesn't fit that publicity. And then
Hmm.
it's a risk for somebody like that, especially if you don't know if they're filming or not. If they do wreck the place or whatever, fighting or what have you, like the business takes that risk. Like even if they do get compensated for that, they still have to take the time to fix whatever was destroyed and recoup
Hmm.
those funds. So they're initially losing out on money.
Hell yeah.
So I feel like if she wanted that to be a place, like that's a place a Kim Kardashian type of person or a Beyonce, what have you, can go to, because they're not known for being out here tussling in the street, fighting in
Yeah.
clubs, this, that, and the third. But a
Yeah.
Natalie Nunn, mm-mm.
like I say, Cap. I don't know Cap on Natalie Nunn. I don't know who this woman is like that. I have done my little bit of research on the Bad Girls Club, and I'm familiar with some of these reality TV shows. And I definitely believe that when I looked at all these fights, like back in the day with the basketball wives, and they used to be fighting up inside the spot. And I do believe that when it comes to this particular situation, that I would agree with the establishment. Me personally, I'm going to agree with the establishment. I don't want. Damn, I sound like I sound weird as heck saying this. But I'm gonna say, like, man, I would be like, I don't want y'all kind around here, man. That I know it sounds bad,
I
man.
don't feel like I just feel like there's a time and a place for everything. Everybody always likes to say there's a time and a place for everything.
Everything.
And I've said previously, I don't subscribe to respectability politics. However,
Hmm.
my establishment, my rules. So
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
can't
And
I can't because honestly, if I had an establishment, she probably couldn't come to my restaurant either.
now ain't no
Just to keep it
probably
a
for
buck
me.
50.
Ain't no probably for me. I don't got. She ain't got nothing I want at all. I don't want the cooch. But but this is how I see it. I believe if they would have gave in and let her in, I believe you know what? Not even just her, anything in support of anything that she may or may not represent, like those kind of shows on those networks. I believe they selling their soul into the devil. Because I definitely believe that it would have took a while to recoup any damage, quote unquote possible damages. Not saying that it would have happened, but like you say, they on tour right now, so they need all the publicity they can get. So they wasn't. I don't believe that they were just there just to have a good time. Sometimes they looking for. They need something, and we all know that most negative publicity goes further than positive publicity. So I believe that's what would have happened, and I believe the establishment did a great job in saying, you know what, yeah, we ain't gonna let you in here today. You can go to any other place in DC, but this ain't the place to come to tonight. Tonight.
All right, so all that being said, have you ever been in a situation where you have been refused service for any reason?
Oh, have I been in a place that I've refused service? I can't say that I have. Now, off the top of my head, I can't say that I have. And I'm not. Nah, I can't say that. Not that I can remember. You know what? Yeah, yeah. Nah, not from the establishment. It's just particular people that was there that I realized that I think I don't want to be. It's a racist situation. It's actually the customer that was being racist that I decided that I didn't want to go. But I have never been refused service. I probably did not have the best service at some establishments. I would say that, but I have never been refused service where they said, "Nah, you can't even come up in here." I ain't never had that. What about you?
So I haven't been directly refused service. Like this was a racial thing too. But I was a kid. I remember I was a kid.
Yeah.
Me and my aunt and my grandmother, because they like to travel or whatever. We were somewhere in West Virginia. We went in the subway. There was a little bit of a line. We were
Hmm.
standing in line. And then I just noticed like the person that was checking people out was calling people like around us to go in front of us. So after
Yeah.
like she did it like 5 or 6 times, my grandmother just was just like, nah, we can go. So they weren't directly like, we're
Indirect.
not gonna
Yeah.
serve you, but passive aggressively, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely coincides with that. I can see that most definitely. What about y'all, man? I want to hear from y'all. Hit the hotline 804-476-2306. Tell us, have you ever been denied service or forfeited service for whatever reason from an establishment? Global R&B 96.3. Be back in a second. We got to spin the blocks with these R&B hits and holiday hits. Don't forget, Nika Ladine, Morning Energy, 10 a.m. Wednesday through Friday, right here on Global R&B 96.3. Be back in a second.